There are several ways to go about lifting weights, but there are 4 key concepts that apply to every single style of training, no matter what your goals are. These are volume, progressive overload, specificity, and consistency. If you don't understand these 4 key concepts, you'll be doomed to forever be a McLovin looking motherfucking twig. So let's start with training volume. If you move more total poundage, you build more muscle. How much weight we are moving, times how many sets we are doing, how many reps we are executing, and the range of motion that we are introducing to the lift directly correlates with how much hypertrophy we are going to experience. So here's an example of how this works. If you're squatting 225 for 5 sets, 5 reps, and full range of motion, your training volume for that workout would be 5,625 pounds. If this number goes up, let's say you manage to add more reps to these sets, moving 225 for 5 sets, 8 reps, and full range of motion, now your training volume is 9,000 pounds. And it is when this number gets increased that you build more muscle. A couple of caveats to this concept. Pay attention to full range of motion. What will happen if instead of using full range of motion, we did some lame ass half-haps to feed our fucking ego and pretend that we are stronger than we really are? So we are going to increase the weight in 30 pounds, use the same 8 reps, 5 sets, but half the range of motion. And look what happens to our training volume. It's even less than when we were doing 225 for sets of 5. So always do your absolute best to execute your lifts with the biggest range of motion that you can execute safely. It's a matter of quality, not quantity, which leads to our second caveat about training volume, junk volume. If you try to be a smartass and game the system, let's say you put 90 pounds on the barbell for the bench press and do 10 sets of 20 reps, trying to reach a total poundage of 18,000. More volume equals more hypertrophy. All you will be doing in this scenario is introducing junk volume, because the weights you are moving, the stimulus that you are introducing, is not challenging enough to promote adaptation. So you need to be working with a rate of perceived exertion of at least 6. This means you need to have left on the tank 4 reps tops. Let's say you are working with 10 reps. If you can do more than 14, that's too light, and that set will not be counting towards your real volume. It's junk volume. So the first key concept already hints on the second key concept. Volume has to go up if you want to build more muscle. And the second key concept is la sobrecarga progresiva, muchacho. Progressive overload is nothing more than challenging your body to do something that is a little bit harder, something that is a little bit more complex. So your brain have to figure it out. Yo, this is too challenging. I need to be more efficient at doing this shit. And when it becomes more efficient, you go there and make it even harder. In practical terms, let's say today you can bench 165 for 4 sets of 8. And it's very challenging for you. The first 2 sets, you do the 8 reps, no problemo. But on the 3rd and 4th set, you are struggling to complete your 8 reps. Maybe not even completing your 8 reps, which is fine. If you are working with proper weight, you should be missing 1 to 2 reps in your last couple of sets. But let's say that over the weeks, as time progresses and you train more and more, suddenly you stopped missing those reps. Now you are hitting all the 8 reps in all 4 sets. If you only stay there and don't either increase the weight, increase the sets, or increase the number of reps, your overall volume will not get bigger. And if volume doesn't grow, neither does your muscles. So making sure that you are always introducing more stimulus, harder stimulus, more complex stimulus, a higher poundage, is progressive overload. Over time, you need to get stronger, build work capacity, do more work. But it's not just about doing more. In training, a concept that rules all the other concepts is specificity. A specific body part has a specific way of being optimally stimulated, and it doesn't end there. Hypertrophy, muscle building, happens through 3 different mechanisms. Mechanical tension that stimulates myofibrillar hypertrophy, metabolic stress stimulates sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and overloaded stretches that stimulate stretch-mediated hypertrophy. Each of these 3 distinct mechanisms has a specific way in which you need to address them. And if you only address one, you are only making partial gains. If you want to make all the gains that you can make, you need to stack all of them over each other by using a gnarly training program that takes advantage of specificity, targeting each of these specific pathways for hypertrophy, and using exercises, rep schemes, and progressive overload strategies that are optimally designed for each specific body part. Because if you're training legs and you're doing squats, yeah, just add weight, add 5 pounds each week. But what about your biceps? Try adding 5 pounds each week for your biceps. Or even if it's just 1 pound. Pretty soon you'll be doing biceps curls with that ton of fucking weight, but still feel like your biceps isn't growing. Because there are a lot of details on how to train each specific body part. Let's cover the last key concept. Consistency. Consistency is very counterintuitive. It's not about going there every day and destroying everything and being a beast every fucking day like all these fitness influencers pretend that they are doing on a daily basis. No, for real people in the real world, consistency is adherent. If you stick to your diet like a robot and throw some awesome pictures on Instagram, there's no brand deals going your way. You might just lose a friend because you're a bummer to be around and you're talking about macros 24/7. So for you, focus on adherence. Focus on finding a program that works for you, for your lifestyle, for your schedule. Be consistent with it, and you will reach results. But always keep in mind, doing what is optimal is a luxury of the pretty boys online. It's not reality, and you don't need to compare yourself to the standards that they impose upon you. So be consistent. Train as hard as you can. Be better than you used to be. And that's all that matters, baby. With enough time, you will be rewarded by your efforts with solid results that you can be proud of if you stay consistent. Just stay consistent and don't quit.